The ghastly grin, a punishment worse than death. A smile. It's supposed to be a sign of joy, an offering of peace. It's the universal signal that everything is okay. But this is a scream trapped in flesh. This is the ghastly grin of Baron Sardonicus, and it's not some random disfigurement. It's a curse. It's the physical proof of a crime so awful, it branded the man's very soul. A mark burned not by a hot iron, but by guilt itself. This isn't just a monster's face from some forgotten horror flick. It's the permanent, physical result of a very specific crime against nature. Digging up his own father's grave for a lottery ticket. The legend of Mr. Sardonicus has stuck around because it taps into a primal fear, not just of being disfigured, but of our sins being permanently etched onto our faces for the whole world to see. It suggests that the worst punishment isn't a quick death, but a long life where your face is forever locked in the horrifying expression you made at the moment of your worst sin. Today, we're going to dissect the legend of Mr. Sardonicus to uncover how his iconic frozen smile became such a powerful symbol of guilt and why it represents a punishment many would consider far worse than death. The tale of the ticket. To understand the punishment, you first have to understand the crime. The story of Baron Sardonicus first appeared in a 1961 short story by Ray Russell and was immortalized on film that very same year by the legendary showman William Castle. It's pure gothic horror. The story takes us to the fictional, mist-shrouded European country of Gorslava in 1880. We're pulled into this world by Sir Robert Cargrave, a top London physician known for his groundbreaking work in treating paralysis. Cargrave gets an urgent, desperate letter from a woman he once loved, Maud, who is now the wife of the mysterious and feared Baron Sardonicus. From the moment he arrives, the dread is so thick you could cut it with a knife. The locals only talk about the Baron in hushed, fearful tones. The castle itself is a monument to a disturbed mind. Mirrors have been removed, and ancestral portraits are replaced with empty frames, as if he's trying to disown his own past. Cargrave's fears are confirmed when he meets the Baron's manservant, Krull, a man whose missing eye is a silent, constant reminder of his master's cruelty. The first thing the good doctor sees inside the castle is Krull calmly torturing a servant girl with leeches, brushing it off as a form of bloodletting. Then, he meets the Baron. Guy Rolfe's performance is a masterclass in hidden menace. We don't see his face, at least not at first. It's hidden behind a placid, unnervingly blank wax mask. But even with the mask, you can feel this monstrous energy radiating from him. Sardonicus is a sadist, experimenting on young women to find a cure for his bizarre condition. He's a man who gets what he wants, and what he wants is for Sir Robert to fix him. He wants the mask, both the literal and the metaphorical one, to finally come off. The true horror is revealed when Sardonicus finally tells his story. Turns out he wasn't always a baron. He was born Marek Toleslawski, a poor farmer. His father, Henrik, bought a lottery ticket but died suddenly before the drawing. After the funeral, Marek and his wife, Elenka, found out the ticket was a winner, a grand prize that could lift them out of poverty forever. The problem? The ticket was still in the pocket of the suit his father was buried in. Driven by greed and goaded by Elenka, who questioned his manhood, Marek committed the ultimate sin. Under the cover of darkness, he took a shovel to his own father's fresh grave. He pried open the coffin and reached inside. What he saw there, in the gloom of the disturbed earth, was the face of his father's corpse, its features pulled back by decay into a wide skeletal grin. In that moment, something inside Marek snapped. The shock, the guilt, the horror. It all came together in a single, silent scream. His own face twisted, mirroring the ghastly grin of the corpse, and then it froze. Permanently. His wife, Elenka, took one look at his new, monstrous face and killed herself. The lottery money made him a baron, but it cursed him to a life of monstrous solitude. He renamed himself Sardonicus, a direct reference to his condition, and began his cruel, desperate search for a cure. This is the crime at the heart of our story. It isn't just greed. It's a profound violation of the sacred line between the living and the dead. A betrayal of family for money. The grave, a place of rest, was turned into a treasure chest. And the punishment isn't a fine or a prison sentence. The punishment is the crime made permanent. His face became a living monument to his sin, a ghastly smile that would forever tell the world exactly what he did in that graveyard. The anatomy of a curse. The genius of the Sardonicus legend is that it understands what makes a punishment truly terrifying. It's not pain, it's permanence. It's not death, but a life defined by one unforgivable moment. The ghastly grin is the engine of this horror, and to really get its power, we have to break it down. First off, it mimics a real and terrifying medical condition. The creators drew their inspiration from Rhesus sardonicus, which means the sardonic laugh. It's a hallmark symptom of tetanus, a bacterial infection that causes agonizing muscle spasms. The toxin makes the facial muscles lock up, pulling the eyebrows high and stretching the lips into a wide, horrifying grin. It looks like a smile, but it's an expression of pure, involuntary agony. Because it's grounded in real medicine, the curse feels disturbingly plausible, not just pure fantasy. The horror isn't just that his face is stuck, it's that it's stuck in a way our brains recognize as both human and fundamentally wrong. A smile is a social contract. It signals joy, connection, warmth. The ghastly grin flips all of that on its head. It's a smile of agony, a rictus of horror. It broadcasts joy while the man behind it is screaming. That contradiction is what's so unsettling. It represents a loss of the most basic human power, the ability to show the world how you feel. Sardonicus can't frown, he can't scowl, he can't even look neutral. He's trapped behind a mask of flesh that's always lying, a constant, mocking commentary on the happiness his stolen fortune was supposed to buy. This is the psychological core of the punishment. In Gothic stories, the body often becomes the page on which sins are written. Think of Dorian Gray's portrait, which shows all the corruption he hides from the world. In the case of Sardonicus, there is no portrait. He is the portrait. His face becomes the permanent record of his crime. The shock of seeing his father's grinning corpse was so profound that his own body made that image a part of him. It's as if his father's ghost reached out from the grave and signed its name on his face. His identity was overwritten by his sin. He's no longer Marek Toleslawski. He's the man who robbed a grave, and his face proves it every second of every day. The story tells us that Sardonicus removes all the mirrors from his castle. That detail says everything. He can hide his face from others behind a wax mask, but how do you hide from yourself? Every reflection would be a reminder of his damnation. His punishment is a constant, inescapable confrontation with his own guilt. He can't forget what he did, because his own body won't let him. This is what lifts the story beyond simple body horror. The grin isn't just there to be grotesque, it's thematically perfect. It's a poetic and hideously ironic punishment. He desecrated his father's final expression, And in return, that expression became his own. He wanted a fortune that would let him smile for the rest of his life. And the universe said, "Okay, you got it," in the most monstrous way imaginable. A pantheon of punishment. The fate of Baron Sardonicus might come from a 20th century horror story, but it feels ancient. It belongs to a tradition of punishment from a time of gods and monsters, where justice wasn't about rehabilitation, but about eternal, symbolic torment. To really get the power of the ghastly Grin, we have to put Sardonicus in his rightful company, alongside the great sufferers of mythology. Take Tantalus, the king who got to dine with the gods. He betrayed their trust, stole their divine food, and then, in a final act of arrogance, tried to test their all-knowing power by serving them his own son for dinner. His punishment? He was sent to Tartarus, the deepest part of the underworld, to stand for eternity in a pool of water with a fruit tree just over his head. Whenever he bends to drink, the water recedes. Whenever he reaches for fruit, the branches pull away. He's forever surrounded by the very things that would save him, but he can never have them. This is where we get the word tantalize. And isn't Sardonicus's fate just another version of this? He's a baron with a castle, living a life of luxury he literally dug up from the ground. He has everything he ever wanted, and yet he can't enjoy any of it. He can't eat a meal without help. He can't love a woman without her running in terror. He can't even look in a mirror without confronting his own monstrosity. Like Tantalus, he's surrounded by the fruits of his crime, but is forever blocked from the simple pleasure of a normal life. Then there's Sisyphus, the clever king who cheated death twice. For defying the natural order, Zeus condemned him to an eternity of pointless work. He has to push a massive boulder up a hill, but just as he's about to reach the top, it slips and rolls all the way back to the bottom. His punishment isn't the effort, it's the futility. It's the endless cycle of hope and despair. The life of Sardonicus is Sisyphean. Every day he wakes up in his cursed body. Every day he hunts for a cure, torturing people and pinning his hopes on doctors like Sir Robert. But every attempt is doomed to fail, because his problem isn't just physical, it's in his head, a manifestation of his corrupted soul. His life is a desperate, unending struggle to escape himself, a task as futile as Sisyphus's. See, these punishments aren't random. They're tailor-made to fit the crime. Tantalus, who misused a feast, is condemned to eternal hunger and thirst. Sisyphus, who tried to cheat the cycle of life and death, is condemned to his own eternal, pointless cycle. And Sardonicus, who was scarred by the sight of a dead man's grin, is condemned to wear that very grin for the rest of his wealthy, miserable life. It doesn't just remind him that he sinned, it reminds him precisely how he sinned. It forces him to live inside the climax of his own horror story, forever. This is what makes it a punishment worse than death. Death is an end. For these figures, there is no end. The specter of the resurrection man. The story of Mr. Sardonicus feels like a dark fairy tale, a cautionary story about greed. But the central crime that dooms him, robbing a grave, wasn't just a fictional horror. For people in the 18th and 19th centuries, it was a very real, very terrifying threat. The resurrection man. Back in the 1700s and 1800s, medical science was taking off, especially anatomy. To learn, doctors needed bodies to dissect. The problem was, the only legal supply came from executed criminals. As more medical schools opened, the demand for cadavers skyrocketed, and there just weren't enough hanged felons to go around. Where there's demand, a market will follow, even a gruesome black market one. A new profession popped up, the body snatcher, or resurrection man. These weren't ghouls. They were organized criminal gangs out to make a profit. They'd sneak into churchyards at night, targeting fresh graves where the dirt was still soft. Their methods were brutally efficient. Dig a tunnel to the head of the coffin, break it open, drag the corpse out, and stuff it in a sack. The body was a commodity, sold by size and freshness to anatomy schools, who often just looked the other way. But for regular people, this was a living nightmare. The thought that a loved one just laid to rest could be dug up and violated was a source of huge social anxiety. The grave was supposed to be sacred. The resurrectionists turned it into a temporary holding cell. This wasn't just disgusting. For many, it was a spiritual violation that could endanger the soul's journey to the afterlife. The fear was so real that it changed how people buried their dead. The rich could afford iron cages called mort safes over coffins or heavy stone slabs to make digging impossible. Families would stand guard over fresh graves for weeks. But the poor were the most vulnerable, their bodies seen as easy pickings. The sanctity of your final rest depended on your wealth, the very same wealth that drove Marek to his father's grave. The story of Sardonicus taps into this deep cultural trauma. He robs the grave for a lottery ticket, not for science, but his crime is the same. He violates the same taboo. The story takes the real-world horror of a desecrated grave and turns it inward, making it a supernatural curse on the man himself. Sardonicus becomes the walking embodiment of a shared social nightmare. His frozen grin is the physical manifestation of the public's revulsion toward the entire ghoulish trade. The practice was eventually stopped by laws like the Anatomy Act of 1832, but the fear lingered in our collective imagination, waiting to be resurrected itself in the form of a man with a ghastly, permanent smile. We love getting into the weeds of folklore, horror, and history. If you do too, if you love dissecting the stories that really scare us, then consider subscribing to the channel. Your support lets us keep digging up these fascinating tales. Now let's get back to it. The shadow of Gwynplaine. When you're talking about a man whose face is locked in a grotesque smile, it's impossible not to mention the figure who cast the longest shadow over this very specific horror. Gwynplaine, from The Man Who Laughs. Paul Lenny's 1928 silent film masterpiece based on a Victor Hugo novel gave us one of cinema's most haunting images. Conrad Veidt's portrayal of Gwynplaine, a man whose face was surgically carved into a permanent grin by his enemies, is iconic. That image directly inspired the look of Batman's arch nemesis, the Joker. And visually, the connection to Mr. Sardonicus, made over 3 decades later, is obvious. Both characters are defined by a smile that isn't a smile. But don't just write Sardonicus off as a copycat. To do that is to miss the crucial difference that makes his story a unique and arguably deeper exploration of punishment. The horror might look the same, but the origins and the meanings are polar opposites. Gwynplaine is a victim. He's the son of a nobleman who was sentenced to death by a cruel king. As a final sadistic touch, the king had the boy's face mutilated by criminals called comprachicos, so that he would laugh forever at his dead father. Gwynplaine's grin is a mark of suffering forced upon him. It's a symbol of the world's cruelty. He's a good, noble person trapped inside a monstrous appearance. His story is a tragedy of circumstance, and our emotion toward him is pity. Baron Sardonicus, on the other hand, is a perpetrator. His grin wasn't carved onto his face by an enemy. It erupted from within, a direct result of his own actions. It's not a symbol of the world's cruelty, but a symbol of his own. Where Gwynplaine is an innocent, Sardonicus is a sinner. His story isn't a tragedy of circumstance, but a tragedy of choice. He chose greed over family. He chose to desecrate a grave. He chose to become a monster, and his face simply made that choice visible. This distinction is everything. It shifts the theme from undeserved suffering to earned punishment. While we might feel a sliver of sympathy for the tormented man Sardonicus became, we never forget he brought it on himself. Our main emotion isn't pity, but a kind of dreadful awe at the perfect poetic justice of his curse. Mr. Sardonicus is making a moral argument. It says there are crimes so foul that the universe itself will pass judgment. Gwynplaine's smile is a wound. Sardonicus's smile is a sentence. One asks us to weep for the injustice of the world, while the other forces us to confront the justice of a curse. It suggests that the most terrifying monsters aren't the ones made by others, but the ones we make ourselves. A fate worse than death. The legend of Baron Sardonicus is so much more than a chilling tale from a B-movie. It's a cultural artifact that weaves together the medical horror of Risus Sardonicus, the ancient terror of eternal punishments, the real history of grave robbing, and the literary shadow of the man who laughs. It sticks with us because it speaks to a fear deeper than death. The fear of exposure. The fear that our worst moment could become our public identity. The ghastly grin is the ultimate scarlet letter. It's a physical sign of guilt that can't be hidden, washed away, or forgiven. Sardonicus got the wealth he craved, but the price was his own face, his own humanity. He's doomed to live in a state of damnation, his face forever locked in a grotesque parody of the joy he sought. The film's ending delivers the final, cruel twist. Sir Robert, the doctor, performs a real medical procedure, using an injection to temporarily paralyze Sardonicus's facial muscles and relax the grin. He then tricks the Baron, leading him to believe the cure has failed. Though the physical effects of the injection wear off, Sardonicus's own mind, convinced he is incurable, snaps the paralysis right back into place. He's left unable to open his mouth, unable to speak, and doomed to starve. In the final moments, his servant Krull, who he has tormented for years, sits down in front of him and calmly begins to eat a lavish dinner, choosing cold revenge over mercy. It's a powerful allegory. Our crimes don't just happen and then disappear. They live inside us. Guilt, like the Baron's affliction, is psychosomatic. It can paralyze us, twist us, and define us. And sometimes, the only real cure is mercy, a mercy that, for Sardonicus, never comes. And so we're left with the question that all great tales of punishment ask. What's the ultimate price to pay? A quick and final death? Or being forced to live forever with a smile that reminds you and everyone else of your greatest sin?